All right, and we are live. Hey everyone, Matt from Soundrolling.com here with Rado. Say hi, Rado. Everyone.
How's it going, guys?
And yeah, so we're live right now. Again, you should see a little live symbol in case you're watching this as a video later. It's very confusing, but we're basically going to have a live chat, hang out, talk about loads of different stuff relating to... and yeah, we're just going to cover a hell of a lot of topics, and it'd be great to obviously get your input as well. So you can, of course, join. There's like a comment section somewhere next to this video, and you should just be able to kind of type away, and I'll feed in questions as they're kind of relevant. There's a slight delay, so don't ever think that we're purposely ignoring you. And yeah, with that kind of said, I think we'll just pick up straight, because we were talking a bit offline just beforehand, but let's just get straight into the topic of bags, because you're very passionate about bags and chassis and everything. So yeah, how do you think they're being kind of made at the moment?
Well, I think, and that might sound a little stupid to say and arrogant, but I think everybody's doing it wrong. Everybody's making it way too strong. Everybody's making these sound devices, making the chassis like they're gonna be in Afghanistan in the military, you know, and they're heavy. And the back manufacturers are putting all these like metal pieces inside, and like some of those K-Tech backs are like 4 or 5 pounds, I guess, and that's like way too much for a back. You know, you really don't need that much protection. That's my experience working in the desert and like throwing backs around. And the reason I started making my stuff and why I started making those, like I'm using a 7-pound back right now, is because I had back pain, and it was pretty bad. I couldn't sleep. Then you get into the hole, you can't sleep. Then you show up on location, you're all tired, and I was doing the 788 with the 8411s with all the MP batteries, like everything in the back, and that's really not supposed to be the norm. And it's very unfortunate that it's the norm right now. So now I'm trying, unless I'm doing a favor for a friend who asked me, hey, can you go do that? I'm not going out with more than 7 pounds. And I think in the United States, not in England where you live, and it's kind of free for now. I don't know for the next few years.
Come on.
Well, who knows with Brexit and stuff, but let's say for Europeans or for Japanese or for even the Eastern Europeans, where you can go and get a surgery and it's not going to cost you $250,000, is people do not realize how much they're going to pay in the future in the United States. I have a friend of mine, camera guy, with multiple surgeries. It's like he's getting out of his pocket like over like 60,000-70,000 right now, and he went through multiple pain and surgeries. They adjusted the discs down, and something got screwed up in his back up from the adjustment. So then they went up, and like they pretty much broke the guy, you know. And I'm not trying to be cool with like, hey, look at my with my light back, I'm so cool. No, I just don't want to have pain. And since I started taking care of myself and not carrying a lot of stuff, I don't have that much pain anymore. I mean, I do a little bit of like, you know, stretching and stuff, but as far as weight, absolutely, I think is just crazy that people are continuing to use huge 411s with huge backs, 2, 3, 4. I see people carrying like 5 NP1 batteries in their backs.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
You know, like 6 days of power, pretty much.
well, it depends now what you're using, because the 788 kind of uses a lot of power. So that's pretty much it. And I have been trying to get people to make stuff lighter, and it's not really happening. I mean, thankfully, Zaxcom is pretty light, and you can work with it. I mean, you can put 3 QRXs for 6 channels and go in dual mode. And the way, like, I don't know if you can see it, but the way I did my 1 unit, I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah, maybe if you hold it.
Yeah, let me just. Well, this is pretty much the bag that I go out with. Let me just adjust it a little bit. All right, so this is the back. It's pretty much all in one. I made the actual bag, which is just Cordura with a little bit of cell, and the way it, like, this is the only thing I'm carrying with a few transmitters in front, and the headphones, the Zaxnet antenna, and the way I did my one unit, which I'm gonna open right now. If you want to see it, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
I know a bunch of people have seen it personally, but all right. So the bag is very simple. It's just Cordura, a little 2-cell foam, some Velcro, and it weighs nothing. So.
Yes. And is there? How are you getting? Are you getting any XLRs in and out? Or are you using wireless boom?
I don't use XLR. I use majority of the time I use AES directly from here, or a lot of times I don't use boom. You know, a lot of the work that I do, you can't really boom. You know, especially if you're in Vegas, you don't want the attention. But like, let's see right now here, I don't need those XLRs. So this I took this off. I mean, it's extra weight.
Yeah.
I swapped the headphone jack used to be here, which was kind of stupid. I just flipped it around, and then no XLRs because I don't need the XLRs.
And that's a lot of weight. The XLRs. A lot of people don't think.
Oh yeah, it's well. I have 4 females over here, and then 6 males over here. You know, it's like it's pretty heavy. And then what I did is I put the mic plexer 2 over here, which is connected to all the QRXs, and I can swap the channels. And I have the battery, the internal battery, which let me grab one.
Nice.
Which I don't know if you can see. It's kind of like the Sonosax thing.
Yeah.
Is that the right way? Hold on. No, that's not the right way. I'm the other way. It just gets in here. Here is his power up, and this is pretty much my back. And it's funny because I jump in the car if I have to go somewhere. I don't even take the back off. I keep it on my harness and I drive because when you look at it, it's not really that much bigger, you know. Which with other backs you can't even get into a van. You know?
Yeah, that's it. That's true.
And that's pretty much it. And from a point of view of I'm a little lazy too, but from a point of view of my back pain, it's totally disappeared.
Amazing.
You know?
And so what are you doing? Because I'm sure people are asking about. So where are you keeping your transmitters? Are you keeping like a side table for your stuff, and then you're just
usually what I do? I have like a small backpack.
Okay.
I have a small backpack, but here's the thing: I don't really need that much stuff. Because another thing that it's actually I think is the best thing that I did for my workflow, and I always tell people and they don't really appreciate is let me first show with the transmitters.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what happens is like, let's say I have 4. They just fit over here in the front. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah.
So I have 4, and I might have like 2 more in my pocket and whatever. But the best thing that I've been doing for my work for reality is short lavaliers. Like this has changed like everything else. Fuck it, but this has changed my entire workflow, and I'll show you why. So I do like 3 feet, 3.5 feet lavaliers for reality, especially when you put it on the belt and stuff. But the best thing about it, other than just miking somebody, let me move that. So, how you mic somebody? You mic him, you clip it. You don't care about the cable ever.
Yeah,
that's it. You just let it stay there. You don't have to go around. You don't have to around the antenna. People are like, go mic these other people. You can't be doing that shit. And the other good thing about it is after I'm done, I just put it here. Oh, it's kind of tough with one hand.
Yeah. What people are asking what harness are you using with this? Are you using
I can only use one harness. I'll get to it. But what I do is when I mic somebody, I just put it here and I let the lav just hang out. So this is what I do. I take the lav out, I mic people, and then I put it back and it's just hanging. And I have like 4 lavs hanging, but that gives me I don't have to adjust the cable. This saves a lot of time. Like, you have to realize that just not having to deal with the cable, I can mic and demic people all day, no problem. Yeah. And pretty much harness is Orca. That's the only harness I can use because it has holes on it, and I live in the desert, you know, and it's hot. So I think my harness is in my back, but it's pretty much this is the whole thing that I'm carrying, you know, and
amazing. And they just brought out.
And I did the thing about the what?
And they just brought out the steel back for it as well, for the Orca harness as well.
Well, and this is the biggest thing. I don't care about that stuff because my bag is this. It's 7 pounds, you know, with the battery and with the transmitter is like a little bit like 7.2 or whatever. So I don't care about, like, I can put ropes on my back pretty much, and this is where, like, it really doesn't matter to me because my setup is light. And you've been out with a 302 or something, and like one and like 2 transmitters and 2 receivers, right? So that's pretty much how it feels. But the short, for reality, I'm telling you, like, whoever want to try it. And another thing that I do, because you don't have to waste the microphone. What you do is just you keep the way I have DPA make it for me is not sure. I don't know if you can see. If you want to use it as a long one, you just use the
micro.
They make my extension. So, okay, this is not a wasted mic. If I need to, I mean, I have plenty of mics, but if I need to use it on something, I just do the micro extension. So if I have to put it in somebody's like ankle or whatever, that's it.
Amazing.
Just do this. Yeah. And but really, if you want to try, if you're working shows that you have to mic people and you mic people all the time, where it's usually in the bra or, you know, like
the waist,
or the waist, it's like it absolutely makes sense.
That kind of thing. Yeah,
it's absolutely makes sense to not having to deal with that stuff. Because I mean, I sometimes when I work for some of my friends, I have to deal with that stuff, and it's just like it takes time to go around, and then people will take it off by themselves, and everything's messed up. You gotta adjust the cable. Producers are screaming like, "Mike, this other person." It's just a lot easier just having this whole thing like that.
That's amazing.
And I'm really like, anything else, it's not as important, honestly, than just using short lavs. This really changed my whole work.
Yeah, it's mad how sometimes just the smallest thing, just in that.
No, but just try it. Just, you know, just try it. You put the lav, you stick it wherever you want over here, and you put the mic and the cable. You don't care about that stuff because you shouldn't. Also, it's not touching the antenna.
Yeah,
which is kind of. So yeah, that's pretty much my proudest realization was doing the short lavs.
Amazing.
It really helps. Yeah, it really helps.
And so let's talk about the kind of work that you're doing. So you're doing reality. This is
I do everything.
Well, you do everything, like
most
of us try to do. But reality seems to be kind of a whole different animal compared to quite a lot of the other things, just in terms of, I don't know, like cameras, pacing. Can you just talk about maybe some of the shows you work on, or just how the workflow compares to pretty much everything else? Because everything else is pretty much now turning into.
Well, the workflow is honestly, the workflow is really the same for me for pretty much everything, which comes from me starting 5.5 years ago on Counting Cars, where I was an electrosonic guy, I was a sound devices guy, and then, I mean, no, I actually liked the Nomad before I liked their wireless. So, but I just realized that you can't be relying on the range. You know, it's like, it's just doesn't matter how good you are. I worked with a very famous mixer this last week on this show. It's like won a bunch of awards yesterday and like got Golden Globes and stuff. And yeah, he was having problem with the electrosonic with this one transmitter because he was in Vegas, and a lot of stuff in Vegas is 470. So people coming with Bach 19. Yeah, I used to have Bach 19, and like suddenly like everything goes to shit. So he was having problem with that. he's like top mixer. Like I respect the hell out of the guy. So that's where I came to the realization that I'm not going live, and I really have to start using this amazing technology. So since then, what's happening is there is really producers don't even notice the stuff that I have to do, and like change frequencies so they can hear remotely, record, like send somebody a mile away to do a quick OTF. And honestly, I get a lot of people are very pissed off about me doing stuff like that, because they're like, well, why don't they hire a second mixer? And this is kind of painful to talk about, but I remember back in the day when I got my first 744, I had a friend here in town who was like, who needs more than 2 channels? I would still keep my DAT. And that guy the market just killed him because he didn't adapt. He didn't adapt. And I shouldn't feel bad for having good clients that are happy with me and just doing a little bit more than just having a second mixer with the sound devices, which still is not gonna help. Like that's the one thing. And I don't want to get into the whole lawsuit and sound devices Zaxcom, but at the end of the day, I love Electrosonics. You have to understand, like I love these people, but at the end of the day, Zaxcom is the thing that helps me, and I never have to say no. Like producers want the craziest shit, especially in Vegas. It's like they want you to get sound from like a Ferrari going 100 miles an hour. It's like, yeah, and you can't really put it back in it and stuff. So there is a lot of working on the car shows, and there is a lot of stuff that Zaxcom helps me. And the most important thing for me is not having to boom. And I'm really, really, I'm really proud that I don't have to, from a point of view that, it's tiring. But the second thing is people don't know how to shoot anymore. So you can't really, like, you go there in like with a boom, doesn't matter. There's gonna be one camera operator that's pissed off at the world, that's gonna start screaming at you that he sees a boom or a shadow. So for me, it's like if I mic him well, DPA, be far away kind of from the action, and just let it go. That's what I do.
Interesting. Wow.
And not to mention a good placing of a lav is way better than like booming from above, from like kind of way above. So as far as sound
especially
quality,
when you then can't boom everyone else, right? That's the whole point. Continuity of sound.
Yeah, and people always argue, well, why would you not use your like $2,000 boom and whatever? It's like, well, no, because it doesn't sound as good. And it's not. There's nothing shameful about saying that. I know I'm gonna get into like a bunch of arguments, but yeah, if a DPA or even a Sanken, if it's placed well and doesn't have any major issues in a noisy situation where you can't really get close with the boom, where you have multiple talents, 99% of the time, good loving person will sound better than a boom. You have the isolation. There are movies that are done like that. There's a lot of times people don't even realize how much of the movies are lavaliers. So that's what I kind of try to do. And this is my reality work.
Yeah.
But then I do a lot of UFC. I do boxing, where it's like it's pretty standard boom and 2 laughs, going with the RX200, the Zaxcom, going to a mirror, let's say, AAS. For sure, because they can just cut that, and just doing following fighters. That's my like documentary kind of sports work that I have a lot of work doing.
Nice.
And that's really like just like I boom that one as much as I can when it's one person, when I can get close. And the camera guys I have one camera, who's a freaking god. so he knows everything, and then I boom and I make sure it's like.
Nice. It sounds like you're being very, very practical with it. In terms of the reality setup, how many cameras are typically running at the same time?
But that's the thing. You never know. You can have 5 freaking cameras.
Right. Okay. So you never know who's on who and what's on what. And
Yeah. And now we have like, okay, so now we have ABC camera. I don't know if that's how we call it in England. So you have those 3 cameras. Then you have like a 4th person on a Ronin,
Yeah.
And then I have like a fifth person with that other thing, the DJI Osmo, whatever, is like going around, and you're like, what the hell is going on, dude?
Next to the drone guy coming in for the close up.
Well, drones are something else too, but as a whole, at the end of the day, I'm very laid back, like a lot of times people tell me like, you're not like the other sound guys, because I don't really mind noise, So like, does it look beautiful? Yeah, well, that's it. I'll make it work. That's my. I'm not that sound guy who's like, oh, I hear like the fridge or whatever. It's like sometimes I like that little side noises. First of all, second of all, if it's very loud, I ask him, is it in the frame? It is, okay, because I worked on this show, Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know it, but it's not very. Here's the thing. I enjoy that stuff. Let's put it this way. A lot of people are ashamed. A lot of people, like, I'm ashamed. No, I'm proud I work on stuff. It's entertainment. It's I don't what's the right English word? I don't discriminate who enjoys stuff, because
each their own. I think.
If there are a bunch of people in the middle of the United States that will go home and laugh and not beat their wife, and just like enjoy it, I'm happy to do it. It's I don't make a difference between a Hollywood movie and a reality for me, because everybody should be entertained, and everybody's entertained from different stuff. So a lot of people in my business, and that's kind of it's very discouraging when you see like somebody who wanted to be a DP on a Hollywood set, and now he's doing reality because he has to. I don't enjoy working with these people, but as a whole, you usually get like the best of the best in reality, because they're happy about renting their gear, never working more than 12 hours, which is something that people don't realize. Like, reality shows don't. I mean, if you're a PA, you're fucked. But if you're a sound guy, and I usually do the 10 hours thing, and I tell them like, okay, 30, 40 minutes over, that's okay. But if it goes a little bit more, it has to be overtime. Pretty much, I haven't worked overtime on reality for probably 8-9 years. Because the reality because they don't want to pay more. The camera people and the sound people. PAs, yeah, that's I guess. No, it sucks to say, but they can go more. Yeah. So from that point of view, I enjoy doing reality. From point of view of renting equipment, it's always like it's better for me to do reality. And from point of view of working with professionals, a lot of people that really know what's up. And I meet some of the best people.
And do you think it's that similar thing of like, because there's different expectations again, I guess, like again, the entertainment factor of entertainment of a movie, entertainment of this, that, and the other. But in terms of when people then think of making a film, it's then, we turn the fridge off, blah, 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 blah. But do you think reality gives you just a bit more flexibility because it's kind of TV/documentary?
Yeah.
The expectation of the audiences
have the experience to make sure everything's fine. And also chasing talent, which is like just the regular people, somebody pulled from the street with microphones. That's very important to like just making sure you're kind of doing everything. Like you're securing your gear, you're recording sound, you're miking. You're a lot of times telling producers what to do, which is kind of weird, but they don't listen all the time.
Yeah, I suppose it makes everyone's life better.
Yeah, and I talk like people in the beginning, like people were kind of freaked out that I talked in their ears, but I go and like I call and say, hey, look what's going on over there. Cover it with the camera. It's like stuff like that. So you kind of turn a part of the whole machine, and but that's my main thing. I really enjoy doing that stuff. I mean, I enjoy like going and like working with all kinds of different people, because pretty much every show comes to Vegas. I've done every show you can think of. They have a show that they did, the Vegas show. I've done a bunch of housewives, million matchmakers. Like I have to really like look back, basketball wives, like WAGs, like every reality have a Vegas thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, all this crazy stuff, and it's a really hard work. People don't understand it's a really hard work, but it pays well, and I enjoy it.
Hey, that's the main thing.
Yeah, you cannot put me on the indie movie for like $250 a day, where I'm working with a bunch of inexperienced people, and like nobody knows what the hell is going on, and everybody's like donating their time. I'm way rather just do like 6 hours with a great fucking camera guys that know coverage and the professionals, and like at the end go to lunch and be proud of what I did. So
yeah, it sounds awesome, man. That's what I like as well in terms of just the sound recording aspect as opposed to the sitting behind the cart thing.
Yeah, people shouldn't be ashamed, and this is really somewhere like people shouldn't be ashamed of what they do, and I really have problem with people when I see them on reality where like, I hate that job. It's like, no, it's a fucking awesome job. You're in Las Vegas, not paying a single dollar, staying at the best Cosmopolitan, the best freaking hotel, like eating the best freaking steakhouses, not on your dime, and you're getting paid, and you're having fun. So I know you wanted to work on Star Wars, but people also don't realize that everybody that owns reality is Disney and Star Wars, and it's the same people. At the end of the day, are you working for Star Wars or for the History Channel? It's the same people. You're doing the same job in the different departments,
That's very true, and I think it's also interesting as well because I guess like the old school is kind of just the paradigm of you have the Hollywood, you have the thing, and then it's just like when cameras came out. Right now, it's not like everyone's still going out to still try and buy an Alexa. Everyone's just shooting on their phone. People are now shooting on iPads, but as long as you can still tell the story, still do the same thing, you're pretty much doing the same thing to the audience, right? Because the audience.
But here's something like all the realities. Honestly, right now are very high end. I can tell that what's that Canon lens 16 to 120, like the big Canon lens.
Oh yeah.
Every reality that I work on, I see that lens. Like people really do care about the look, because you're selling an image. With all these shows, you can. It's not like before when it's like, oh, you have this little Sonys and it's all grainy, and no, now you're really. I mean, it's a lot about the quality. Like you see some of those camera operators, and like you see their stuff, and I look at their screen, I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking beautiful. So there's really like I think it has evolved a lot, where the quality of post-production, that's a different story. Reality and post-production, of course, but the people on the field, the people that make it, and the camera guys, and even like the AC, the setting the GoPros, and everybody involved are really, like, majority of the time are really top people, and I have a friend of mine, I don't want to say who he is. He used to be on a union show for 25 years, and he mainly quit because he didn't want to do overtime.
Wow.
And now he does like he's on a cake show right now, so he deals with cakes. And he gets good money. Yeah, he's a GP and he makes good. He's shooting cake, but
so you can't.
He used to be on a show like Cops and stuff like that, where it was a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And so how did you find your way into that world? Did you like move to Vegas? Have you always been in Vegas? Like, give me a bit of a backstory of like how you got into the industry and kind of found your feet.
Well, how I got into it. Well, I used to record music. That was I went to conservatory, music school, classical guitar. Won some awards back in the day as a kid, playing classical guitar. But I was in Portland, kind of 2003 to 2006, and I was recording music, but it was this paradigm of, everybody was doing it themselves, or just people with money could afford to pay me. And the actual talents were not really, they didn't have the money to record. But I was really, I really, what happened was I saw that, it's like that thing is, that business is going away. And a lot of people, even big studios, didn't see it. So I was like, well, and then I've done computers and stuff, and I saw like jobs going overseas for computers, and then I was like, well, what's the one thing that you can really, send to India is being on the actual field, and so, and I did some new stuff, and I did some movies before that, and I always enjoyed like doing sound on the movies. I used to do it with a laptop and a RME multi-phase back in the day, so I didn't have anything mobile. I didn't have recording. So pretty much what happened was I came to Vegas, and I started doing like boxing and behind the scene, and I like boxing. I'm a fan, and it was like kind of interesting to like be with this like amazing athletes and behind the scenes in the hotels and meeting all these different people from like Mexico and the Philippines, and then just people started calling me from the weirdest thing. Like even if if I look at my schedule this year, like just in January, I work for I don't know what it's called when you bend your body, like a weird way, like contortionist. Yeah. I work with the best contortionists in the world, and like the kid that is the best of all kids. They were all from Mongolia. I spent a day with them for the CBS show. Then I did Jersey Shore. I did Vice HBO. Then I always do CES, which is still nothing bad about that. I'm not ashamed. I did a corporate event for 4 days. That's my January cash, insertion. That's how my year starts. I do 4 days of very well paid corporate. And I'm not ashamed of it, because there were a bunch of TV networks over there paying nothing, So people were like, "Oh, what are you doing corporate?" Yeah, because actually I'm getting paid 4 digits, because there was a DUI network was giving like $400 a day or whatever. So it's and again, it's work. At the end of the day, you go and you do the work. Of course, I don't enjoy doing corporate, Then I did a 2 days Adidas commercial with he's a Las Vegas baseball guy, won the World Series for the Cubs. So that was cool, because I have a relationship with the Adidas people, and I probably do like 15 days a year for them in the summer, and so that's always cool. Like just hang out with a bunch of athletes and like sneakers people. They're pretty funny guys. And what else did I do? Yeah, I did this big show. I was handing phonics, chasing dancers with phonics, like dropping on the floor in the dark, like going up. It was that was a job, It was did I enjoy it? Yeah, because it's a job, and it was great team, great sound team. What else did I did some other stuff. I really have to look at my but this is what keeps me to it. Huh?
Yeah, it's super busy, right? 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is what keeps me to it. Is like it's always different, It's always, and I always learn something, I learned a lot about 3D printing on CES, because that was part of the thing, and I really chose that job in a way to educate myself about 3D printing, because I got like the behind the scenes with the biggest people and with like the best engineers. So it's just doing different. I don't think I can do like the same show for 9 months, which I do mine, but I still do other stuff, because it's just the being interested. I did a court show like for a year in between my show, which was a lot of dark stuff, but it's job, somebody has to do it, and it was at some point interesting,
Yeah, well, that's it. It's all about keeping it fresh, and again, because otherwise you get to a point, just like I'm sure there's like we have soaps over here, obviously, and then they the lighting guys, all the sets are pre-lit. It's that kind of thing of you don't just want to be there just switching on, switching off, and being like, yep, done, off. Oh, change one bulb, done, off. You want to keep in the mix.
Don't get me wrong. I might become that guy at some point. Especially now, like right now with the kit, I don't travel, because a lot of times people want to travel me. But now with the kit, I can't travel, because I want to be at the end of the day. I want to be with my kid. But it's another thing about like working different stuff is I have friends of mine that stayed on the same show for a long time, and suddenly the show ends, and they don't know. Nobody knows who they are. They don't know how to pay their bills. They're amazing sound mixers, like being on the same show for 5 years. Great sound, but suddenly everybody forgot about them. So that's another reason that like I would do like Monday to Friday on Counting Cars, and then do something on the weekend, because I don't want to be that guy. Because now I've been dark for a month, but I still get jobs. So this is I think people get comfortable. I know camera guys like that. Just the show ends, they stay. And I used to call these people like during the show. Let's say, for example, Pawn Stars was running like Monday to Friday for a long time. And I used to call them, like, hey, you want to get that job on a Saturday? They're like, I'm fine. I offered them jobs for like 5 years and they never took one. And then at the end, they were like, get me jobs. And I'm like, well, it's a career. I mean, do you look at it? Here's the thing. Do you look at it as a job or as a career? Because if it's a career, you got to take every opportunity. Because I might get a call today for the weirdest shit tomorrow that I'm going to end up working for 10 years. So you never know. That's how Vegas is. I came on counting cars like that. This dude just, hey, can you go for 3 days and cover for me? And then he moved to Texas. So you never know.
Wow.
I've been working the same show for almost 6 years, but you never know. If I could have said no, I didn't really want to take the job. But you don't know what, I take every opportunity I can.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And talk to me now, because obviously now you kind of started a family and stuff. How has that kind of shifted? Because it still sounds like you're as crazy busy as you ever were. Are you still Monday to Friday? Are you like wall to wall? How are you dealing with that?
Well, it's tough. Like, especially, I know people say, "Oh, it's the greatest thing. Nothing changes in my life." No, a bunch of things changes in your life, and the one thing that changes is finances. I'm chasing money that I either didn't invoice for or didn't receive a check. And what happens is, before I could do it myself, and I was always on top of it. But now with the kid, I wrap at 6 and it's over. Before I wrap at 6, I do the paperwork or set the invoice. Now I wrap at 6, I go home with my baby. That's and then a day after I forget about it. So this is the one thing that if somebody is expecting first kid, this is the really important advice. And I asked a lot of people with kids, and a lot of people gave me very good advice like this one. Take care of your finances, because you're gonna end up like me, chasing a lot of money from which I'm gonna get paid for. I just oversight. That's the one thing. Second of all is repairs and cables and just keeping everything organized. I grew up in communism, okay? Like I had like my shirts, everything, like I used to be organized. But then I always like made sure everything's organized, everything I need to grab, I can grab. But like right now, my office is like everything's horrible. Because that's what happens. You don't have the time. And this is the difference from before. Before I wrap the day and I think about what I need tomorrow and what's going on. Now I wrap and I just throw everything in the corner and go see my baby. That's that's kind of like what really changed.
Time perspective, yeah, it's nuts. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna happen sometime, and it's still never sure what's gonna happen. But the one very positive thing is when a producer tells you something really fucking ignorant, you just smile and think of your baby. Which before, nice.
I used to be kind of mouthy, and that I guess people know that I'm kind of mouthy, but that got me in a little trouble. Now I don't really care. I don't even road rage. Because at the end of the day, it changes where it's like, oh, my kids, all right, everything's cool. I don't really care. Was not the point before. So from a point of view of children, people say, oh, you get a lot more nervous when you have the kid and your life's hitting. No, you get a lot more relaxed. Because
interesting.
No, it does. It's like, and I spoke to other people. Like, yeah, after the baby, like you don't get pissed off. There is no reason to get pissed off. You have a beautiful baby.
That's brilliant. Well, that's very reassuring.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, the birth and all that stuff is crazy, but organization, and I'm blessed to have an office, because I don't think I can do what I do with having the gear at my house. Especially now, I had to bring some gear home, and my wife lost it, and my baby started touching stuff. So just having all that, I don't know if I already showed the mess. Just having all that mess in an office, it's like it's better than your house. It's kind of cool.
Amazing. Good tip.
But, yeah. Let me switch this off. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to make my Mac smaller with the ZMTs. I'm trying to kind of, because let me show you, like all my gear like fits. I don't know if you can see. Like I have these two safes.
Yeah.
I all my gear, even when I travel in a safe like that, because it's that small. You know, like when I. Oh, let me see. So I'm pretty much trying to compact everything, make it easy to. So this is going to be my 1 unit. I have like 10 transmitters over here. I don't know if you can see them.
If you just tilt it down a little bit.
Yeah, like that. I have 10 transmitters. Where's the other ones? Yeah. And they go here. And I have my boom, my slate, and pretty much trying to compact because it's like I think I became like a hoarder. I have like the weirdest old stuff. You know, I have like old electro antenna combiners and like stuff that I would never use that I really want to like just give to somebody.
Amazing. So, well, maybe someone will comment and then you can post it.
No, but I really want to give it to somebody who can use it because they're like great stuff that people can use. But yeah, just trying to be more organized is my New Year's resolution, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. That sounds good. So we're still live, so I thought I'd remind everyone that still get questions in. We've had a few already. Chris Colabella asks, do you ever use Cardioid labs? Or what labs do you use?
That's very... Oh, I love 4080. Like, this is like... Let me see. This is the 4080 is my go-to mic for everything that it's not loving. Like this is I don't like the 4098. Like this is the, let me see. My 4080, this is like the best mic. I know people don't like it because it cuts. I love it because it cuts. Because I work on reality. You know, I want it to sound fine where people would just cut it and it's gonna go on TV. So for me, this mic is really important. Like I've used it for I have a few I've used it for chords, just like plant mics. I use it a lot, believe it or not. I don't take board feeds ever because I can't trust board feeds. Like people are like, oh, just plug in the board. No, I don't plug into your board because I don't trust you. I don't know who you are. I don't know how good you are. And I cannot trust you. And many times, especially in Vegas, many times I'm proven right. So I would go and just like attach it to like a podium mic or whatever. And I would have my own feed. And a lot of times, like, the speakers will be out and like something's gonna happen and I'm still recording because I don't care. So I really like it for cars. I like it for mounting. I think this is the best one of the best mics. And very interesting about the 4080 is it sounds very well from further away. It's pretty much imagine it like a boom. No, you have to try it. Of course, it doesn't have the low frequency as much, but just the way it picks up, you can be really further away from it and it's still acceptable. In court, like when DA was walking away from the podium and back, like speaking, it's really like makes a difference compared to other mics. Because the super cardioid will start cutting, but just like the way a cardioid picks up naturally, it's really I really like. Yeah, I really like. And yeah, I'm a big fan, and I think. People, I've been trying to get DPA to make a flat sounding 4080 for everybody that wants like the flat sound. So I don't know if they're gonna do that. They might. I mean, they made the slim, which took a long time to get them to make that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I tried one today actually with the buttonhole mount, things like that. I think I'm switching fully over to all of those. Maybe.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, they have to. They have to just kind of make a different. Concealer, because I'm not a big fan of the concealer. It wasn't what I had in mind, but because I have like small, like I use small concealers. I really like to, let me see. It's like what I do is I cut regular concealers. I don't know if you can see, and I'm making way smaller. Because I like smaller, doesn't show up as much. It's kind of easier to mount, and also I cut my own circles. I just do the circle thing. I can't.
Nice.
I can't really pay for circles. I just go and have a circle. That's it. But the slim, I have a smaller one, which is a lot thinner. Because what they did with the second plastic thing, they kind of made it bigger than what it's supposed to be. I don't know where mine is, but I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you later. So yeah, but yeah, Cardioid, big fan for plants and big fan for cars, especially the 4080, because there is not a single mic in a car. I don't care. I mean, I've tried everything. I have Monday to Friday 5 years of trying everything in the car. There is no other mic that's gonna sound better than 4080 on a visor, just facing down. There is absolutely, I don't care if it's a Sheps, like MK41. I don't care what kind of mic. Like you put it there, like out of the box sounding good. 4080 is your mic. So I'm a big fan.
Nice. Yeah. Victor wanted to follow up because I know that the Slim is also kind of like because he's saying, have you ever tried side address mics like the VT500s or trams? But the new Slim one is actually kind of side.
Well, that was my whole thing
as well. Yeah.
That was my whole thing. That was my whole thing with GPA. Why I really pushed for them to make that mic. And I don't know if you heard the whole story about.
No, do tell.
Oh, okay. So 3 years away, Jeff Wexler was invited to the factory, but he was on a movie, so he couldn't go. And there was a thing they had with. I found this defect with their cable, which they had problems with Zaxcom, and I just looked at the two mics, the one that had problems with, and the one that didn't, and the one that I had problems with was a kind of thinner, and I just looked at it and was like, okay, so it's a different cable. So I kind of found an error on their manufacturing. They stopped using that supplier. So they invited me into the factory, and I went around and just looked at their stuff, how they make the capsules and stuff, and I saw the Define. And my first thing was like, why is that not a lavalier? It's smaller, and it's side address, which if you look at the 4060 series, you can't really stick on anything unless you have like something pre-made, So, and then like I was there for like, I bothered them for a week over there, like talking to everybody, showing him how it's gonna be, how easy it is. Because I told him, a Sunken Cos 11 is a great mic, but other than the size, I don't really see that it gives me anything better, because we can argue philosophically, and we can also measure a DPA sounds better than Sunken. Even a Sunken guy that I spoke to, they said, yeah, that's true, but it's easier to hide. So my whole thing was, then I bought them for another 1 year. I sent emails, and at the end they made it, and they actually made a few, and I sent it to a few kind of big mixers that really liked them, and that they were really, really convinced after that to make the Slim. And I like the Slim. The only thing that has to be fixed is, and I'm talking to them about that, is make a better concealer.
Yeah,
I
think that's the thing, because the question from Victor as well is like tips on placement, such as hiding them. So, what are you doing at the moment to kind of?
I have my own concealer. Let me see where my. Yeah, okay. I have my own. I made my own concealer, which it's pretty much the same thing as the other one. I just cut the. All right, so here's the difference. I don't know if you can see. This is my concealer. See the side.
Yeah.
It's just the top. It's just the top of the. It's just the top of the concealer with a tape on the back. That's pretty much it. And I cut it to be small. So if you compare, I don't know if you can see.
Because is that the one that's meant to clip twice?
but I just cut the top, so it's extremely small. Like, I don't know. You can see the difference between the 4060 and that one, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now let's get a Sunken. All right. I mean, I really have to measure it, but it's more than a Sunken, or as big as a Sunken,
Yeah, and then you've got to think that you would be putting a mount then on the Sunken, therefore making it bigger, right? So
yeah. So this is what I'm trying them to do. Another thing which it's kind of tough to talk about, but if you use a GPA with a regular concealer, sometimes they get damaged. That was one of the other reasons why I made my. Let me get a regular one. Why I make my. Oh, this is the core. Sorry, I have to be careful with the core. The core laugh. You know, I always because I have the short laugh, so you can pretty much throw them anywhere. They're not gonna get bent, but the core is not cut, so I don't want to mess it up. So this is the original. Like when you even with the tape, when you see the original one. Like this is the original concealer. It's freaking. I like this part. Like this part really helps. But as far as size, nothing's better than that. I actually even like I've done just taping just the mic, and this is why I wanted to have a site address microphone, just for mounting. Because I'll show what I do, and that only happens with the Bumblebee mount. Like I've just gotten the mic. Then over here. Oh, you're there. You know those invisible bumblebees?
Yeah.
So I've just gotten like the center one. It didn't open. All right. So I just done this. Just the center one. And I stuck it like that. And it really holds. And this is, you cannot do that with Sunken or with the 4060. So as far as mounting, it's smaller and gives me a lot more options. And one thing that I don't know if I imagined it, but I feel like the Slim, I can get away with going upper towards the throat a lot more. I don't know. I mean, I haven't like usually I would have the time to like scientifically, listen to that. But now with the baby, I don't. So I believe myself to be true. Where 4060 can sound very weird if you go up. Like you start like really because it's a very flat sounding mic. But
do you think maybe that's because of the side address being taken into account as well? Because obviously, if it's just pointing up again, even if it's omni, but it's pointing at the throat, then
I think it's just the shape. I think just the shape of the capsule being flat and not circular, and just the way the reflection works inside. I mean, that's really a DPA questions because they're freaking geniuses with all that stuff. But I really think because it's actually was designed to be over here. That's
because that's part of their other series, right?
Yeah, define. That's where I grabbed the headset and said, put that on a lavalier. So, and for me, I think it sounds not as. Sometimes the 4060s can sound very flat, which is amazing if you do music or if you have like a post production. But the Define to me is like a little bit more equalized to sound okay, to sound great. So I like the Define. I'm changing all of them. I'm gonna change all of them that I use for Define. And again, I do the short one, the short mic. The old concealer has its place when you want to like just like clip it on somebody. But I really want him to do the smaller one that I use. Let me see. But yeah, that's yeah. It's people should try it.
Yeah, I'm sure they definitely will after this.
And also, I don't know if people know, but you can wash DPAs. The company didn't want to say it officially for a long time, but okay. I do wash them all the time. Like not all the time, but if I'm in a spray booth or if I'm in a desert and like, so pretty much what you do is you take the capsule, you get distilled water, very clean, tap them a few times inside. That would take all the dust or makeup or whatever, and then like let it dry, and it does help.
Nice. I feel I should stress distilled water just in case anyone knows.
And also like don't blame me if you
disclaimers all over the place. Don't actually do this. Maybe do this.
But that's pretty much like I don't know if you can see. That's pretty much the concealer that I made. It's just like the very small one side, and
because once you got the stick on, it's fine. So you don't need double plastic, do you?
Yeah, you don't need to make it bigger. That's the thing. Like the way how small it is right now, like because doing UFC and doing boxing, a lot of times you have the sports fabric, and everything shows. Like like a regular concealer, like a 40-60 concealer, it's gonna show like crazy, you know. So this is really like where, and a lot of times these mics get punched, you know. So well, because you know, when I do sparring and stuff, I with especially now with the ZMT, which is one of the main reason I got the small, like I don't have like this side. This is the Phantom one, but it's I can put them on people without athletes, so without having them being uncomfortable. So being flat is like I really like that, and I'm changing all of them.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I'm going that way as well after testing them today.
Well, as of now, core is not on the slim. So if you really care about core, I don't know if you want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we got time. This is what this show's all about.
All right, so GPA were nice enough to send me a core, and it kind of sucks because my show went dark exactly the day that. Hold on, is my wife? Just one second.
Yeah, no worries.
В момента ме интервюираш, ще се обаря обратно, okay? Just one sec. Okay, нещо спешно? Okay. Alright, love you, ciao. Okay, sorry, my wife, just letting her know. So yeah, my show went dark, so I wasn't really able to test them because I wanted to test them on more cycles, you know, on engine. My show is all about muscle cars. But my show went dark. The only thing I tested it and I did not record it is I tested on in a band on a Ampeg V22 guitar amp, just like stuck it over there. And this is really impressive. And there is definitely some extreme clearness especially in the high frequencies, which I really have to I really have a little bit more time with it. That's what I'm saying. But judging by their specs, and GPA always very correct with their specs, it's really impressive. In screaming, like I recorded some screaming. I mean, I don't know if I'm imagining the clearance in the high frequencies, or it's just like there's a lot of like wireless. There's a lot of other things. I really want to test it with the XOR, you know, hardwired.
Yeah.
But I believe DPA, and if they're saying there is a lot less distortion, I don't know if I imagine it, but I think that's what's going on.
Amazing. And the and people are asking questions just about your RF distribution, whips, diopoles, fins. Could you just talk about that in relation to obviously your radio mics? Well,
I started using the dipoles. I don't know, like I don't think maybe other people were using it. I had the dipoles on my harness. That's when I really need the range. But now I just put them in front of my back. Let me see. There's somewhere.
That's okay. Dave, see. Yeah, you got
the cool thing is the cool thing is like when you look at the SO6,
yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember when they were releasing it with the SMA.
Yeah, okay.
And I stepped in and said, like, hey, don't do that because you gotta swap. My thing is made with BNC, so I can swap. I can go to the cards, or like if I get in the car, I can swap between antennas, between my dipoles. Go to the shark fins, which I mount behind the driver, and it's really important to be able to change. Because to be honest, Zaxcom doesn't work great with whips. You know, it's like the second you just put a dipole, it's a huge difference. It's not like electrosonics. Electrosonics with whips compared to dipoles, yeah, dipoles is a little better. But Zaxcom not with whips is just like, I think a lot of people were disappointed with their experiences because they really just try to get an extreme range with whips, which still can happen, but dipoles is just where I think I'm getting better range than and the mic plexer, better range than 411 with whips, and that's. But a lot of the job, if I don't need it, I'll do the max with the max with the whips, you know. Especially like when I do those jabs to like a mirror and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is not back for me. This is not the back that I use, but it's just I do the whips. I set up just for a friend of mine, and It depends. Like a lot of times, I think people get very crazy about range.
Yeah.
When their transmitters are not recording, you know.
Well,
So
that's the other. Well, this is a very interesting point of obviously because you can record in your transmitters. How is that as a workflow working? Because you just so there's a dropout, but you just don't
I
care.
never sweat.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I never sweat.
But then how does this work like after the fact? So for me, I've never used one where I've had to then. Because if you miss something, then you miss something, and then you have to kind of get it. How does it work in a kind of post production?
Yeah, but it's not fair in 2018. You know, it's not fair in 2018 to have to reshoot something or like to miss something.
Oh, of course. So
the way
how is it working?
The way it works is like I have a small tablet. You can't see it because I'm using it right now. But I have the tablet in my car, and I have the Zaxnet, and my tablet has a micro SD slot, so I don't even have to use a. It's a Surface, the Microsoft Surface, and I just everything that I need to do, I just download, and you'll be surprised how many times I do that in purpose, just because there is something that it can be done. And
so what you're doing is you're having your list of files from the actual day, and then you're going, okay, well, I knew I missed. That guy drove off in that Ferrari talking on this take, and so I'll just swap that in.
I give the notes, and or the one very important thing is I tell them in advance. This is what's gonna happen. This is how I can do it, and the only thing is I gotta give you a separate file. And then, like 99.9% of the time, people are like, "Great," and a lot of times people are like, "You can do that." I'm like, "Yeah." Next week I'm going on the second time actually on the zero gravity plane. You know what that is?
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do there is like I'm gonna. It's kind of weird, and I've done that before. Is I'm gonna have an ERX, and I'm gonna have each transmitter transmitting on a 2.4 gigahertz, because it's kind of like they don't want frequencies on the plane. Classic. And I'm just gonna swap between frequencies and listen to the different mics. I mean, I'll make sure everybody's mic'd correctly and stuff, because they will be flying in zero gravity. But what I'm gonna do is also they don't want booms or backs, big backs, heavy stuff. So I'm going in. Mic the people with a ERX for me and for the director in my hands, like that's with not big headphones, with like so that's how I'm going. But this is this is where it's very important. You can't do that stuff with anything else. And I mean, there is no way not to talk about lawsuits and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a tool that lets me do something that nobody else can. And a lot of times I achieve a job that I wouldn't be able to. And there is absolutely nobody, no sound mixer on the planet who would say, "Hey, I don't need that," because at some point you will. That doesn't matter. There's gonna be this one time that you're gonna get fired or something. You know, it's like, and also just being helpful to the project.
Oh, that's it. We're in the service industry, right? The whole point is if you offer the better service, then you're pretty much getting
and
that's it.
And also not telling him no, because people don't know. People are like, "Well, my walkie works 2 miles away. Why is your mic doesn't work?" And you've seen that all the time. And the cool thing about the Zaxcom stuff is I can do that stuff, and but that's the thing. I make sure they're mic'd to a point where nothing's gonna happen, you know. And then I mean, the downside of a lot of the Zaxnet control, the downside is like I had people coming to me, it's like, you don't do anything, do you? I'm like, no, actually I've changed some frequencies, and like I changed gain when people were screaming, and like my main thing is like when somebody's like on a bike and he stops and there has to be a dialogue. I don't stop. I don't have a reason to stop, because I have Zaxnet hardwired to my Nomad, one of the knobs, where I can immediately raise it or you know, like I've had people come and like, "Oh, you don't do shit." I'm like, our sound guy was constantly doing stuff and like going there like with a screwdriver and honestly, and again, I love Gordon. Is a cool guy. Like I love him. Like he has my passwords. Like I love that guy. But I cannot go to a guy with a screwdriver. You know, just thinking about how ridiculous that sounds, and change his transmitter. This is just crazy. You know?
Yeah. Well, thankfully they have the Electro app and stuff now, so that people.
No, that's fine, and I've used it. Believe me, I've used it more from the first second. But
But yeah,
that's
I know
one,
what you're saying. I know.
That's the one thing is like I mic people very well where I know the mic's not gonna get fucked, and I know the cable's not gonna pop out because the cable is short, which is So and then I just everything else I'm in the corner and nobody sees me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess so. But what else you have?
What else? I mean, so usually these talks, again, they can go on for hours now, as I accidentally had one for
of course.
2.5 hours with Simon Hayes before he realized he really had to go.
It's worth it. I saw that one.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I think, I mean, we've done like a solid hour. The main, I don't know, there's literally so much. I mean, maybe... unless anything else opens up to the floor, but everyone else, I mean, we've pretty much answered everyone else's questions.
Well,
everyone's just saying that everything's awesome. So kind of
maybe the one
that's coming to you.
The one last thing maybe I want to talk about is just as like the way I work and not having that taking all the analog stuff out of my Nomad and then working with somebody else's backs and stuff. I really think AES mics should be the norm, like just not having, it's just so many things. Like I've had problems with the Sheps and I have problems with lights, with power, with Mexican radio, with, it's like there's stuff, especially in Vegas, you go into the small corridors where there are antennas everywhere and like everything is being controlled by wireless. And like, I don't know, if you probably never worked in Vegas, but people who work in Vegas know it's like it can be kind of a hell. And just as a price point, just having AES, not having a preamp, because I don't need a preamp. Like I'm not back in the music days, I was caring about this preamp gave me this, and this preamp was like better for a female voice with an AKG 414. But now it's like I don't care about that stuff. Like I use most of the time I use 8060 or 8040 AES. That's my mic because I know like it is what it is. Doesn't matter if I do it on a wireless AES or I do it on hardwired. But I do wireless. I find myself doing wireless even for sit down interviews a lot lately. It's just because you pull a cable and XLR through light and there's some like distro for the lights and stuff. It's problems happen, and then your setup is very hard. And what I do is I go with a 742 and with a stereo. If I have two people to be boom with the stereo adapter, with the stereo, as I just set up two mics. And I really want to get the time, get the AES splitter when I can do two mics into a AES. And I just put the two mics and I put the wireless and that's it. And it saves time setting up. And I go wireless to camera too, AES, if it's like a mirror or like a Sony that has AES.
And so for the people, because loads of people on my channel, they're like asking all sorts of questions. They're obviously mainly fairly early on in their career. Just explain the importance of the AES concept as opposed to the kind of analog digital, like the traditional way of like going into your sound devices or anything like that.
Well, let's talk about Zaxcom for a second. The Nomad preamps, at least mine, I don't know if my model was early, had a lot of problems where you have to like calibrate them, and like even this friend of mine TJ just lost all his XLRs on the Nomads, and this is where like I used to like I showed up and my preamp's not working, and it's like what the hell, and then the cable and whatever. But with the AES, it's just such a simple thing, and also you can run a cable from here to like my mom's house. It's like there's a And the whole idea, like I've really critically listened to my 8040 analog into Max and AES, and there is a lot more clarity to the AES. Just the fact that you're having everything up at the head is it just makes everything simple. It's like you don't get as much interference. The same thing with my wireless. I don't send tone and like. do the line and then like make sure everything is calibrated. It is what it is. You're getting what it is. And my main thing, and if I would to make a recorder, I would not have a XLR. I'll have one stereo input for like a board feed or whatever, a phone. But I really like that. And especially with my setup, I don't have to have those heavy analog XLRs. Another thing is the XLR. XLR is dumb. Like if we can get rid of it, it's huge, it's heavy, it's old. But I like AES. I know that, especially with the MKH Sennheiser, I wish DPA make one, because I would love to have like a 4017 with the AES. I just know it would always work. I can be next to a 20K, or I can be next to a power distro for a concert, and I know nothing's gonna interfere with my mic. I was in tunnels 120 Fahrenheit and 100% humidity and like power everywhere underneath the lake. I did that for 6 years, like 1 or 2 days a year, and like the AES never failed me. It was like always like next to transformers, nothing. It's a smarter system, I think. You know.
Perfect. And for those that don't understand, the AES is basically, it stands for audio. There's AES 42, AES 3. One's phantom power, one's not phantom power. It's a way of digitally converting the signal, usually at the mic head, so the Super CMIT.
Yeah. And there are two AES 42. There is a Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 is what we have, which is really unfortunate, because you can change low cuts and stuff, like even sound devices. The Type 2, let's say, for example, this is the 8040. I don't know if you can see it okay, with the analog stuff. So we take the analog. Of course, it's a little bigger, which in this particular case actually works better. And you attach the AES, and everything from here all the way to the CF card or whatever is digital, which really prevents a whole bunch of problems.
Like the transformers and everything you were saying before.
Everything. And so the AES 42 Type 2, you can control the sensitivity, the low cut, and I really want a recorder that has that. I don't think even the Kantar has that, or no, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but that's the crazy beast.
It's just, I think I've had a lot less problem than other people by not doing, and I still do it, like when I do the chefs and stuff, but like commercials and documentaries, but I just like the AES. Yeah. It's cool.
Nice.
And go ahead.
No.
Last thought. And I think manufacturing-wise, it's way cheaper.
Interesting.
Like Dante. Look at Dante, how cheap Dante is. It's pretty much like equivalent of an AES, of a digital AES. If you make a recorder with 8-channel AES, and if you make a recorder with the 8-channel analog, the analog is going to be way more expensive to have the quality. Where the digital transformerless stuff, it's cheap as hell. You have like $50 devices have AES, and it's digital. So even if people talk about, the the digital problems with what's the English word?
Intermodulations?
No, with dithering and stuff. It's like, come on, it's like, come on, you don't hear that shit.
Quantization error.
Yeah. It's like you would never, like, I've measured them in a wave lap, and I can't hear them. So, but that's it. So yeah.
Amazing. And finally, what kind of headphones do you use in the field?
All right, I actually got a little inspired by you. I've been using like these particular ones, like maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
AG25 are the best freaking headphones. They can pop out, they can fall, and I changed the cables and repaired the cables. But the most important thing is that you can actually make them to stick on your hand. And the other thing is, I have to listen, especially if there's traffic and I can get killed. Because I always because sound is important, but life is a lot more important.
That's true.
I would, in a situation where I have to like watch my back, I would listen with one ear. I don't feel ashamed about that, but I really want to try the new ones. You're using the new AG25s.
Yeah,
right?
26s, no? 26
26.
take 2. Yeah. Honestly, in
I
terms of
re-
being more comfortable, I need to replace the cable on mine. But I've been using the DT770s. I think I've got on.
oh, the biodynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those for my home theater.
Yeah, but they're just so much more comfy because the main problem with the or just the ergonomics of the 25s is that it's quite it's grippy, and I was finding that I can't really explain it. Basically, it's one band like a headband,
Yeah.
and so the more you stretch it, the more tension there is. But this one is
Well,
broken in two sections to make it kind of
okay.
easier to stretch out. So basically, it's more comfy for the people with big heads.
Yeah,
So that's why I
yeah,
liked it.
one thing that I like that the cable's not exposed anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's I really want to do that. And that's probably interesting to mentioning headphones is you know how in the States they do the coiled Sonys?
yeah.
This is just hell. Is I don't understand how people. I hate coiled. Like I can, even on a boom. I mean, I can use on a boom, I guess, but just and headphones. This is what I like about this, like flat cable. That's a very like United States versus Europe thing, because I don't remember even like in Europe people using like the coiled cables for headphones.
Yeah, I think
It's
people still. Yeah, I mean, even on the 26s, they just have a little curl like here, and then that's
no,
it.
but then it's flat. Like I can
Yeah.
But then you go on a show in the States and they have like the coiled boom cables, and then it's the coiled for those Sonys.
Yeah.
But it's very important that I had a conversation with there was a studio recording site called Solid. I forgot what it's called. They were like very famous, like studio store and the site Solid State something. And he was like,
State Sound.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like we had a conversation and before when they still existed, I guess. And he was like, "How are you using those headphones? They sound horrible." And I'm like, "Well, I use them because they sound horrible." And if you really look at the AG25s, they do sound horrendous,
I know what you mean,
as far as listening. But just that whole exaggeration in the low frequencies, I hear an AC or like I hear like a car coming or whatever. I see a low frequency on these headphones compared to any other headphones, just because they're low and it's so screwed up. There is a little distortion in the high frequencies when somebody's screaming and stuff. Like that you can hear, but that really like that's there to help me a lot more than I'm not there to enjoy what I'm working on. I'm there
critical,
to critically listen. A lot of people come to sound recording from studio and like music recording and they don't get the point of it's not the same. The same with mics. You want the clearest, the most like clean mic. You don't need the most character, I guess. And then the same with the headphones. You don't need like AKG K240. I love how they sound, like the old like AKG. But you can, first of all, they're open. You can work with them, and second of all, you need to have stuff exaggerated. If you want to hear stuff going on, you need to really hear them exaggerated. That's why everybody in Europe, I guess, uses and lately in the States uses the AG25s.
They're definitely coming up.
They are made for a noisy place where you can hear stuff.
Yeah, I wish they would make them slightly more closed. But
what? They're close enough. You don't think they're closed?
Yeah, they're okay. They kind of sound. Yeah, best. Yeah.
I think they're more closed than the biodynamic. I think the biodynamics are semi-closed, aren't they? I hear more with my. Yeah, I hear. Yeah.
I guess they kind of the difference is this is literally going like round my ear and then is on top, whereas the other ones are just on top.
Mine is pressing. Mine is pressing. But yeah, I like them. It's they never break and especially that you can like not fall, because that's a big problem with I've worked with people where like the headphones fall and then what the hell do you do?
That's so it. Like you trip over your bag and then impale yourself on a boom pole.
You know what's funny? I just lost one.
Hello.
Yeah, I need a new cable.
Oh no, you literally just broke it right now.
No, it just no, it's that stuff. You just need to like close it a little bit. That's it.
A stupid little connection. Yeah. I forgot about it. Yeah, it is much better. It's closed, definitely.
I was going to modem, but now I'm just gonna get this and also the limiter. I like the limiter.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. I need to
That's
get back. I'm getting too
it's
comfy.
very important.
Although these are
That's
good in
very
winter.
important.
I like a warm.
Yeah,
Amazing.
well, I work in Vegas. Yeah, so
Yeah, I know. God damn. Have you? Did you change to velour? Kind of. They had two pads, right? They had the leather ones, and then they had.
I've tried the velour. I feel like the velour is like gets wet, you know.
Yeah, I guess because you're sweating a lot. Yeah.
I work in 50 degrees weather.
Yeah, God.
I was like, so.
Yeah, no, that's true. It doesn't help that much. It's more comfy in a cold country. Yeah.
Probably this, but
yeah.
Because these one I just swipe, you know, because they're kind of like closed by the little like leather or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Right.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. Like loads of people keep joining in, obviously randomly, because I'm terrible at organizing these and actually telling anyone anything's going on. But we've had like 100 people or so. So
that's pretty cool.
Still pretty good. I know, I'm getting there. Daily videos, people. So do subscribe. Little plug. Yeah, no, I think this is a good place to end. We've literally there's so much information. And again, this is not the be all and end all of a sound chat between us by no means. So I'm looking more towards the future because now this is what, number 53.
Wow.
Looking more towards the future of eventually getting kind of panels, eventually kind of, I don't know. We'll see where this kind of goes.
Are you coming to NAB?
I really need to. When is NAB again? I really need to.
It's April. It's April to the week of 10th.
I think I might be back. I think I have a feature. I need to go basically. I need to. I do need to. I did try and promise myself this year that I'd go, but if not, I would. Yeah.
Okay, this is something we can talk on the after, but we can set up something as a panel or whatever. And you enjoy the famous Ramps JW Sound Party on a Tuesday.
Oh man,
it's been going on for 26 years.
I know. I just
maybe win a prize.
That's it. That's it. I hear so many good stories, man.
It is a great thing.
But let me give you just one more opportunity, just in case anything else has come to mind, for just general. I don't know whether you just want to sum up kind of the one key bit of information that we've had from our chat today, or just kind of give offhand advice to just one person in the crowd. Like, I don't know if there's like a final thought.
Oh yeah, well, final thought other than like just do the best and don't be afraid to use new tools, and I love those new Bluetooth tentacle syncs, and I work with this guy that does commercials, kind of like more like an infomercial commercials, that he's always paranoid about time codes, and just having the Bluetooth, and like I had him on his phone and he was like, oh, everything is just like stuff like that. Like I feel like our business is not like embracing new technology at the same rate, as others, it's like, and that new tentacles with the Bluetooth, and you can set them, and just the peace of mind of knowing, because nothing else on the market that I know of can tell you that everything is. I know the ambient does it, but it's kind of like more complicated. It's just the way the tentacle do it. I've heard they sell the most like time code boxes of everybody. It's not about having less issues. It's just of the simplicity of it. Because of course you can have, and I've never tried them. I really want to be fair that like the time code systems.
Yeah.
And like the ambient, and I love the ambient guys, and I think they're one of the greatest company of all time. But just the way Tentacle do it, so simple, and just giving you that software. Because I've been trying to get Zaxcom to make a software like that for a long time. It's very millennial proof, I guess.
But it's an interesting point, just raising up the adoption of new technology from us. But then this is what we're seeing also from these from the companies.
People get comfortable.
Ambient.
People get comfortable.
Yeah, like Hilton. It's that classic thing of like the Hilton group could have bought Airbnb, could have bought the taxi companies could have made their own.
Yeah, Uber and all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
People get comfortable. It's like Sound devices for the longest time had no competition. Electrosonics for the longest time had no competition. They still don't in a way because they sell a lot. But when you look at like the hybrid wireless and stuff, they've been selling the same stuff, and the same with the time code. But Tentacle just came up with something that it's freaking awesome. And I want like sound devices to say, hey, we want to use that technology in our recorder because we live in a time where DSP, you can program everything into a sound devices, or like into a Nomad, and then you can have like, press a button, all those, even if it's Zaxcom ERXs are jammed. The whole thing with disconnecting cable. Cable broke. That camera is not getting a jam. I know it's simple and it's not like very advanced, but it's something very important. It's a peace of mind, and I did experience it. This is the craziest thing, because people were like, well, I don't want to know, but yeah, I this particular case, it was very important to have everything fine, and it just helps, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's time to start having, even though I'm not a big fan, like more like cell phone easier integration stuff. Like control over wireless, but not with the noise by the mic. Just have those little. Bluetooth is small. Like Bluetooth is so small. The new version is such like almost uses no power. There is a lot of opportunities to have control. I know Audio Limited have now Bluetooth control, but there's like the like Qualcomm is putting like billions of dollars in like these new chips and stuff. I think it's very, very exciting, like the next like 5-10 years, if sound manufacturers really embrace new stuff.
Yeah, well, I think if it's anything to do with like last year with the time code wars, then hopefully we just see it like literally roll out across every single other sector that kind of affects our work. I mean, we're already seeing it from tape to straps to just the everyday things that everyone thought that was set in stone.
Can I say something about that strap thing?
Yeah.
I seriously, I mean, it comes to this. One product was, and again, we're talking about being the only one,
Yeah.
And new, what is it called? What are they called? The original company.
Neopaks.
Neopaks. They were the only ones. They never needed to change. I have like 15 years old Neopaks, the same as the one that I have today, and then a guy just makes something 100% better, and they try to like, I don't know exactly what happens, but that's how it works. Instead of doing stuff, like try to do something better, and compete. Because I really like, just that's one of the greatest thing ever is those new straps. I've only tried the Ursa. I don't know about the Italian ones, and again, I don't care about the Italian ones. Are they better? Like, it's like like I think it's funny when people are like, this guy stole from me and this guy stole from me, and like if you have the better product, like people will like it, and the simplest. Sometimes it's not about just being better. Again, the technical things, But yeah, those new straps are amazing, and have a little pocket for. I've had that idea for the longest time, just never had the time. The little pocket for the cable, whatever. But like, yeah, they come up with that stuff, and they're like having it upside down. It's a simple thing, but they just did it. So I love their products. I don't think I'll buy a new packs ever again unless they make something better or on the same level. It's like it's nothing to do with. It's a business. At the end of the day, we're in a business. If Electro have recordings and a nice digital system, I'll switch tomorrow. I don't own anybody anything. If whatever makes my job easier, I'll stick to it. I get very political, sorry, but
hey, man, it makes it all the better, and this is why you're definitely going to be on the discussion panel.
There's a lot. Well, yeah, there's a lot of friendship. Like I don't know about England, but in the States, there's a lot of friendship and alliances that, like, when you break them, and I've got in trouble a lot of times. It's like people get pissed off a lot, and at the end of the day, that shouldn't be the case, because if you make something that it's as appealing, we're not talking about option as tentacle and it's easy to use. It's like, yeah, people will buy it. Because even like, look at the screen. Well, it doesn't have a screen. Yeah, that's not the point. You can look at it on your phone. It's actually, that's the plus that it doesn't have a screen, because it's smaller, less power, not as breakable. stuff like that. People and Tentacle started from a Kickstarter or whatever,
Yeah, I did an hour and a half webinar chat like we did right now, 2 days before the
that's fucking awesome.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
And this is what people don't understand. That there's going to be somebody like what was the original guy? Not Max, original Tentacle guy. I forgot his name. There will be somebody like let's say Maximilian, even in China, because China are doing some amazing stuff. Like I just purchased some security cameras from China that no other company can make. On the quality, the software. I mean, they're a surveillance state, so they have to. But like, there's gonna be a kid in China that's gonna come up with some weird Bluetooth freaking wireless that's gonna knock everybody's socks off, and it's gonna have recording, and there is no TPT, so there is no like patents for that part of the and then you do like Alibaba for like 8 channels, and it's gonna cost $1,000. And I know it sounds funny, but it is possible, dude.
Yeah. So where do you think people should stay in terms of this upgrading while we're in this kind of momentum shift? Is it better to kind of where should people be aiming that are kind of still kind of starting out? Should you just stick with a G3 basically for a while and just see how the chips fall, or what's your kind of?
This is very important. This is very important. You know how I did it? This is very important. I've never rented a piece of gear. I've always had a little bit of cash, and I started with 2 G3s and a mix pre and a boom. So then I got the 744. I kind of put some money, but then when my needs raised, to me and of course people will hate me again for saying that, like rental companies, it's a waste of money to rent gear. If you get a job for 2 weeks, but it has to be, it has to be really worth it. If you get a job for 2 weeks with 6 mics and you only have 2, how much are you going to pay for the rental for those 2 weeks? And how much you can charge the company? And at the end of the day, I absolutely like all the gear that I have right now was always something that I needed. Like there was a need for like a second mixer and like more wireless. Like, yeah, I didn't rent it. At some point, I'm going to use it, and I really avoid it. I've never rented. No, at the end of the day, I've never rented a piece of gear for anybody. I think that's if you can pull it out. I mean, if you can make it happen, it really makes sense. And I'm sorry to all the rental companies that's your living. That will help me, and that's how at the end of the day I make all the money instead of making somebody else's money. So that's I think that's important. And as far as what to use, I mean, it depends what you do. But I like the Zaxcom stuff. If you can afford it, the problem is repair. And now, to be honest, a little note, I repair everything myself. So for me, sending it back to the factory is not as a big deal. Because I know, especially if you live in England, they're not as big as sound devices. They don't have like repair centers and all that stuff. So over there is stuff, and even for the US is stuff if you have to send stuff back. So yeah, but
yeah, you just got to take everything into consideration. I guess that's
everything into consideration. Yeah, but as far as G3, and I had this, I was talking about that online with somebody. It's like G3 sound very good on voice. I can put it next to Electrosonic and just on voice and play it back on very nice monitor speakers, and it will be very hard to hear. Before you hear anything fast transient or a noise or kind of like a difficult compounder sound, you would not hear the difference between a G3 and Electrosonics with a nice lavalier,
Yeah, well, that's the key. Yeah, it's all about the microphone.
I used to have GPAs with my G3s before, and they sounded freaking amazing.
Yeah, one of the first things I did was upgrade the mics before I upgraded the wireless. I think the wireless packs are almost the last thing you do because you have to buy multiples of them, blah blah blah. So
yeah, it's a lot more. I still have like a G3 microdot. I've used GPA on a G3, but Also, another thing is like how much gear you need, because I have friends that have like 20 wireless and do like a love and a boom, So
Yeah.
just buy what you need. Or I have a friend of mine that purchased. I told him to buy the Max, a QRX 100 used, and then 2 transmitters. He bought a Nomad, like 12, and he rents my wireless, and I'm like. And I kind of like gave him a deal where he can like rent and buy, where he bought like Bok 20 with 2 transmitters. But I told him, it's like, you have to buy smart. He works he works like a boom and a 2 laughs. He doesn't even need that Nomads, So there is a lot of people like jump to buy like the newest thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right, this is a perfect place to end it. I just want to thank everyone that's been watching so far. We've still been like constantly at about 20 people dipping in and out, which is pretty good. It's getting super late here, unfortunately.
Yeah, well,
early mornings,
sorry.
that kind of thing. Oh no, that's fine. I did one of these and I started at like 3:30 in the morning. It was incredibly stupid. And went
I can blabber for hours. I can blabber for hours.
But this is why we'll have you back. Yeah, indeed.
Oh, yeah, and let's if you think about NAB and let's set up some panel.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll go offline and have a little chat as well after the fact.
Cool.
But to wrap up the official video of what this will be, I'll leave a magic link that will somehow magically appear, giving you the playlist to the other 50 plus chats. I'm going to try and put these into podcast form as well. I think that's a very smart idea because, yeah, you don't need to be watching my face to be able to get the most value out of this. So, although it might be handy when you're obviously pointing out stuff, so I'll supply pictures. We'll figure something out. But yeah, thank you very much for everyone that's been watching. And if you're watching, do leave comments down below, and I'll try and forward on anything or answer any questions that you have. And all that's left to say is just thank you, Rado, for your time. And we can officially end it and go offline. But I'll let you say the final goodbye, and otherwise I'll say goodbye to
Bye,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.